only way I'm gonna have Ducati in my life again is if I have two. While one is repairing, I can ride another one that is going to be repaired soon.
Oh, Ducatis, man.
Hello everyone, welcome to another video. In today's video we're going to talk about why I'm not making any riding content, what is the future plans, and where my passion for riding comes from. Probably for those who knows me and those who are following my YouTube channel knows that ever since I bought this motorcycle I started having issues. After I bought this motorcycle I rode it only once. After I replaced the water pump, I replaced the tires, brakes, all fluids were flashed. Second time when I took bike for a ride I rode it for a little bit. There is a video on my channel, I'll put the link down below. I rode it for a little bit. I wanted to test ride it on the street, but the bike shut off. So I took the bike to the shop where I usually take my motorcycles when I have to fix something or replace the tires or do some work on it. They told me that horizontal cylinder or cylinder number 1 is not firing up because this bike have a V2 engine and the engine is placed like a weird way. It's sitting like this, so this horizontal cylinder it's not firing up. So since the bike wasn't throwing any codes, I assumed that there is a problem with the injector, because you know usually when there is a misfire or something you have check engine, but check engine was not lighting up. I took it back, I replaced the injector, I started again, and the motorcycle was working until the temperature reached 180 degrees and then bike shut it off. So I tried to start it, but I couldn't start it until the bike cooled down, and then it let me start it up. I was like, maybe that's a map sensor. So I'm like, yeah, let's replace the map sensor. Maybe the engine doesn't get enough air in it to work properly. So as I said, I replaced the map sensor. It didn't help at all. It was kind of confusing because there was no codes, right? So I left bike at the Ducatis, they hook it up to the computer and they find out that the vertical cylinder or cylinder number 2 is not firing up and that the bike have a spark plug wiring issue. So I was like, yeah, I approve the work. They ordered the part. It took them about 3 weeks to get the part from Italy and replace it. After they replaced it this last Tuesday, they told me that I'm good to come in and pick it up. I went there, I picked up the bike Tuesday morning, just a few days ago, took the bike from them and I started bike was working just fine. I let it warm up a little bit and I went up to the closest stop sign and the bike shut it off and I couldn't start it again. So since I was not too far from it, just like, I don't know, down the street, I brought bike back to the Ducati and right now the bike is still in Ducati. They couldn't figure it out what's going on with it. So I'm waiting on the news on the bike. Because all of this happening, I'm losing the whole season and I think I'm like kind of done with the Ducatis because this is the newest bike that I have. This bike is 2014, has only 8,000 miles. I don't know, I never came across these issues with any of my previous bikes because all of my bikes were like 10 plus years old. For example, Z1000, my first bike was 2010 and I bought it with 18,000 miles. My second bike was Triumph Daytona and that bike had I think 12,000 miles, I'm not really sure. And I had an issue with that bike too, you know, and I just, you know, I sold it after I couldn't fix it. I don't know, I did many things on it and I'm like, no, I'm not gonna, you know, wasting money on bike. So and then I bought ZX6R. That bike was 2009 and that bike when I bought it had around like 17 or 18,000 miles and those bikes, those Japanese bikes were working perfectly. I never had any issues, just regular maintenance and that was all. So as I said, I'm done with the Ducatis. I don't know if I'm gonna ever buy it again. Right now, let's talk about where my passion for motorcycles and riding comes from. As usual, for people that love super sport motorcycle and racing, usually that passion comes from, you know, very, very young age since they were kids, as is the case with me. I was so much in love of motorcycles when I see them on the street. I remember the first time I saw R1, it was red and white, and I saw GS6R. I think that was like K1 600. back in 2001. Place where I come from Serbia, and place where I come from South, there is another lot of people that have money to own the motorcycle. So every time you see the bike, it's probably the only one, or there is only 2 or 3 bikes close to you, you know. Yeah, and one night there was a soccer tournament in village where I come from, and the guy with the R1, he stopped for the drink at some local place, and I was like, yeah, I gotta go and ask the guy to give me a ride. And at the time I was like 7 years old, and I came up to him, I was like, hey, I'm sorry, my name is Nicola, can you please give me a ride on your motorcycle? And he's like, sorry buddy, I don't know you, you're very young, you know, I cannot just take you for a ride, you know, what your parents gonna say, you know. And then I told him, you probably know my father, you know, it's a small places, you know, everybody knows each other. And I told him who my father is, and he's like, oh yeah, I know your father, he wouldn't mind if I take you for a ride. He took me for a ride on his R1. We went for like, you know, just cruising, but that was like more than enough for me to talk about it for next, like, I don't know, 10 years. I was telling everybody, you know, that I had a ride on a R1. So time was going by, I was getting older, and I was growing up in very conservative families, so having the motorcycle for them is a big no. They would never ever in their life let me buy the motorcycle. I mean, they would never buy it for me. I mean, if I could afford to buy it, they wouldn't mind, you know, but they would never give me a money to buy it. Place where I come from, it's really hard to buy a motorcycle because, you know, for example, right now in Serbia, average income, it's like $500 a month. And even right now, if your family doesn't support you to buy your motorcycle, there are really small chances that you can buy the type of the motorcycle that I wanted. I'm talking about the super sport motorcycles. You know, growing up, I knew I won't be able to buy a motorcycle. I was not able to work at that age when I had so much passion for it. I mean, I still have it, but you know, at that time I'm talking about when I was younger. So yeah, I put that idea on the side, but I remember one thing. I was like probably 7, 8, 9 years old when I was very, very young. Whenever my friends talk about the motorcycle, I always told them like, yeah, I'm gonna buy a motorcycle one day, but it's gonna run on a water, because I know if I ever make money to buy a motorcycle, I wouldn't have money to buy a gas. So I was very young. I didn't understood how does motorcycle work. So yeah, that was a fun fact. But later on, when I grew up and I was like kind of, you know, teenager or something, I had a rich friends that they had a motorcycles and they let me ride their bikes occasionally. So I thank them so much for, you know, letting me do that. I'm always thanking them for that. So thank you guys so much. I always wanted to come and live in the United States because I was so much into hip hop music since I was like 4th, 5th grade and American movies. So finally, when I was in a college, I was able to make that move to, you know, come to United States and live and, you know, settle my life. So I did it when I was 22. I moved to United States and I settled my life, as I said, and first time after like 5 years in the United States, I could, you know, put like $5,000 on the side to buy a motorcycle. Before that, I had some sports car, but you know, I always wanted a motorcycle. It's not that I didn't want to buy it. I was like, I live in New Jersey at that time, and you know, it's not a place for a super sport motorcycle. And I moved to PA, and then I had my $5,000, and my buddy was selling the bike, so I bought my first bike. My first bike was Kawasaki Z1000, and I still love that bike, and I still regret selling that motorcycle. So yeah, I was 27 when I bought my first motorcycle, and just 1 year of owning that motorcycle, my friend Alex was telling me stories about the Tail of Dragon. I watched so much videos and I'm like, yeah, we gotta go. A year of owning motorcycle, we went to the Tail of Dragon, but before that I was riding on a regular streets, and you know, I love motorcycle, I loved everything, but something was missing because it's first time you have your own motorcycle. You're always excited to ride it and you don't really think what you want to do with it. And yeah, as I said, Alex was talking about the Tail of Dragon. I watched videos, I saw Max Reist videos, and I'm like, we gotta go, man, we gotta go. So me, Alex, and 3 more friends went there first year, and I fall in love with that type of riding. Consistent focus, upgrading techniques. You know, you always think what you can do and upgrade to be faster. That moment I start loving and start understanding riding sport motorcycles even more. Even that bike was naked, you know. And when we came back from the Tail of Dragon, I was going out on the street riding and it was kind of boring, you know. And the second time when we went together on the Tail of Dragon, he liked it. He liked it so much because, you know, the Tail of Dragon, it's really cool place, but he was telling me like, man, you gotta go to the racetrack. You gotta get a super sport motorcycle and you gotta go to the racetrack, because he already had experience. He went there many times for a truck days, and he's like, man, I see you love this, you have talent, but trust me, go to the racetrack, you're gonna love this thing even more. I listened to him, we came back, I sold that bike, I bought the ZX6R, I bought actually Daytona. Daytona was so bad, I couldn't, make it work, but, as soon as I realized that bike is I sold it for whatever money and I bought the ZX6R. As soon as I bought it, I scheduled my first track day, and after my first track day, I'm like, yeah, this is definitely something that I'm gonna do. Reason I sold that ZX6R is because I wanted newer bike, so I bought Ducati 899 Panigale because it's a technologically equipped, it's newer bike, better looking bike, and then I made a wrong choice that caused me not to go to the racetrack for like more than a half season right now, and I don't know when I'm gonna go. Like, I don't know when this bike is gonna be fixed. And on Tuesday they're gonna start working on my bike again, and hopefully they're gonna tell me what's going on. If they don't fix it in next like week or so, I will definitely miss like the whole season because of the wrong choice that I made. Next one that I'm going to buy, it's probably gonna be the race bike. Already everything set it up, or I'll buy a brand new motorcycle. I just don't wanna mess with the used bikes no more. I still want that R9 that I have ordered, but they delayed production for some reason. Or I'm gonna look for CBR 600 2025 if we ever get them to United States. They have them in Europe, in Japan. They are still not available in United States, and if you have time, check on that bike. It's so beautiful. It's a fully equipped with all technology. It's really cool bike. After this experience with the Ducati, I think this is the first and last time that I owned it. As I said, this is the newest bike that I ever had, and the bike with the lowest mileages that I ever had, and it has so much issues. I didn't trust people when they were telling me that these bikes have a lot of issues with electronics, and I was like, yeah, probably yes. I kind of wanted to try it, because I have to admit one thing, this is the most beautiful bike that I had. My previous bikes that I had was Kawasaki's. First was Z1000, that bike was 2010, and that bike had, I don't know, like 18,000 miles when I bought it. And when I bought next Kawasaki was 2009, and that bike had approximately same mileages. I think was 17,000 miles when I bought it, and I never ever had issues with them. I was just doing regular maintenance, and I was beating those bikes. I was riding them on the street, I was riding them on the racetrack, on a teledragon, and never ever had issues with them. I will stick with the Japanese bikes in the future too, because all my friends have Yamahas, Hondas or Kawasaki's, and they never had issues with them. My friends have a R6 from 2006, bike have 30,000 miles, never had any issues with it. That is the reason why I'm going to buy a Japanese bike and stick with them. And the only way I'm gonna have Ducati in my life again is if I have two. While one is repairing, I can ride another one that is going to be repaired soon. No, I'm just joking. I don't know. I just think that I had a bad luck. So I made this YouTube channel so I can share my story, upgrading and improving skills. But this motorcycle stopping me from doing that. I will keep making content about the MotoGP and other things that I do until I get my motorcycle fixed or I buy another one. Next MotoGP race is on a Red Bull Ring in Austria, so I'll be reviewing the race if I don't get my motorcycle back. Make sure to follow me on Instagram and TikTok, links are down below in the description. Thank you for watching this video, and I really appreciate everybody who's subscribed to the channel. Thank you for support, and if you see this video, please subscribe, support my channel, and thank you so much for watching. See you in the next one. Bye.